Voting is done and the counting has begun. It's fever pitch at results operation centers across the country. Our reporters are monitoring and collating and auditing the voting numbers at the elective nerve centers. For an update from KZN, we're now joined by Mawande Keswa. Mawande, we were speaking a little bit earlier about the smaller parties in KZN, the smaller parties in KZN bringing some surprises. What do you have there for us? Mawande?
I'm struggling to hear you there, but as far as the progress is concerned, when we look at things now, we can see that there have been a number of votes that have been counted in KZN. When we look at KZN as a whole, the eNCA is still in the lead as far as support is concerned. And then when we look at municipalities such as Nongoma, we do now have some numbers with regards to Nongoma. The NFP is in the lead in Nongoma as well as at Dumbe. They've got 48% of support. The IFP is behind them, and then the ANC is in third place. When we look at the seats that have been allocated, the ANC has gained about 10. The IFP is on 4. The EDA is on 3. Then when we also look at Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini, we see that the ANC is still there in the lead with about 60% of the support. The EFF is behind them, and then the IFP follows them. We are going to also be speaking to the DA leader within eThekwini, that is Mr. Francois Rogers, who will then give us a reflection, because we do know that in Chatsworth and in Phoenix, the DA has gained 2 wards. And controversially, we do recall that in Phoenix, the DA had erected those posters which hailed residents there as heroes amid the unrest that we saw. There was a lot of uproar saying that they are praising those who acted as vigilantes during that period. So it is quite interesting when you look at the fact that they have come out on top in Phoenix as well as Chatsworth as far as gaining 2 wards are concerned.
All right, that's our Mawande Keswa in Durban. Masego Rahlaga is in Johannesburg for us. Masego, some small parties in Durban bringing surprises. What's happening in Joburg?
Well, Tafuma, so far the city of Johannesburg is really surprising a lot of people, and you see the reaction when you tell people who's running third in the province so far. But I'm just going to walk, Tafuma, very quickly to an IEC desk. They have shown me, for instance, how to use the system, and my colleague Tebogo Masilo will just show you what I'm looking at here. So right now we're looking at Gauteng as a province, and in Gauteng basically what's happening is that 14% of the votes have been completed, of the counting has been completed, and overall in the province the ANC is at 35.1%. But the DA follows quite closely. If you look there, Tafuma, at 33.4%. That's the DA, and the EFF at 12.5%. This is after 14% of the counting has been completed. So the day is still long. But if we zoom in on the different provinces, here's the city of Tshwane. It's a highly contested metro. We've known that. And the DA there is almost at 40%. If you look there, the DA is almost at 40% there at 39.6%. Followed by the ANC at 25. So, I mean, it's still early and only 5% of the counting has been completed in this particular metro. But the ANC at 25%, and then FF Plus surpassing the EFF at 11.4%, according to this, according to what we're looking at now. Earlier on, actually, the EFF was third in the city of Tshwane. So in the past hour since I've spoken to you, Tafuma, the FF Plus has gone above the EFF in the city of Tshwane. Let's move from there now and try and find you. There's Ekurhuleni.
In Ekurhuleni, the DA is at 33.79%, but the ANC follows so closely with 33.6%. And that, of course, shows that there is a possibility of a DA-ANC coalition, but it's still early. The voting is still being counted, and we haven't even reached 20% yet in any of these metros. And the EFF there being last again, or rather third again, with 12.3%. Let's try and find you the city of Johannesburg. That's a highly, highly contested metro. We know that it was previously under a DA coalition administration until Herman Mashaba resigned as DA mayor. He formed the party Action SA, and if you look there it is, 19.15%. When I spoke to you earlier, Tafuma, remember it was at 18%. So in the past hour, they've gone another 1.5% higher in the city of Johannesburg. And before them is the DA at 37.5%. And the ANC seems to have grown that margin between itself and the DA in the city of Tshwane at 34.1%. And some analysts that we've spoken to are saying that the reason you're seeing Action SA perform so well so far in the city of Johannesburg is because people in Johannesburg are showing that they believe in Herman Mashaba after his tenure as mayor, but also they are saying that it might be a party that is stealing from the DA because Herman Mashaba happened to be the mayor for the DA at the time. But very quickly, Tafuma, I see the city manager, Mr. Brink, has just joined us. He's just going to give us an overview of the city and what's happened in the city. He can't answer political questions. Mr. Brink, thank you so much for coming down in such a short space of time. Tell us a little bit about the overview in Johannesburg, some of the glitches, running out of ballot papers, for instance, some areas with no electricity.
Thanks very much. We had 867 voting stations, of which we managed to conclude 228 that we've already captured, which is about 26% or so. So we are working around the clock. We've got people sleeping here. Some of the glitches indeed were issues with regard to ballot papers, but we managed to attend to those ASAP in order for us not to hinder anything with regard to the voting yesterday. Yes.
And Mr. Brink, how many people in Johannesburg, what was the voter turnout in the city of Johannesburg?
So the voter turnout was around 40%, which is 893,000 that turned out yesterday. That is of a total of 2.20 million or so that have registered. So that was that 40% that I just referred to now.
Very disappointing and low turnout, isn't it?
Indeed, it's a low turnout, but I'm sure some of those reasons for that turnout will be addressed by the IEC as and when they close out this process.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brink. Obviously, we'll be with you throughout the course of the day. Tafuma, I mean, at some point, my colleague Debogo Masilo and I were looking at the number of energy drinks that are on these tables. You can see that, as Mr. Brink said, a lot of people are spending a lot of time at the results center for this particular province in Gauteng. Lots of energy drinks, empty coffee, little mugs. So you can see that people are really spending a lot of time here. And I think the city of Joburg, for a lot of people, will be the interesting one.
Well, Masego, please drink all of the energy drinks that you need to keep going because we love your work. Thank you for keeping us updated. Masego Rahlaga is out in Johannesburg, Mwande Keswa in Durban. Masego speaking to the IEC in Gauteng, and they're saying there was a 40% voter turnout. That's been an issue we've spoken about all morning, the low voter turnout. Annika Lawson spoke to Wayne Sussman earlier about some of the reasons that people might have had for staying at home, just plain old frustration at the politicians. There's also COVID-19. Let's not forget that we're still in a pandemic, and there is the issue of power cuts as well.